Hi, welcome to Hyperfixated Fan. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hunter.
Today we're going to be talking about the Mummy movies.
Hell yeah. We love some good 1999 classic adventure.
Yeah, so we are just talking about The Mummy 1999 and The Mummy Returns, which I believe is 2001.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's what it said.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about those. I don't want to talk about the old one from like the 30s. I don't want to talk about the newest one that's like set in China. I don't want to, or that one. I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, we're just talking about
the OGs.
The best ones, basically.
I guess the OGs would be the one from like
the 30s.
Yeah. But that's like a classic, like, you know, cliche mummy. We're talking about like the adventure movie mummy.
Yeah,
it's a whole different thing.
The plot overlaps a little bit. Like the 1999 one draws inspiration from like the 30s one. I watched it, but it's very racist. There's someone doing blackface.
I should have expected that from a 1930s movie about mummies.
Yeah, it's pretty racist. And the only good thing about the movie is Boris Karloff is the mummy, who is Frankenstein's monster. So he's cool, but
that's fair. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
You get what you get with a movie from the 30s.
Yeah. So the 1999 one, I told everyone, like, it's my favorite movie of all time.
It's fun. It's a good time.
So good. We'll get into it, but I like it for, like, the nostalgia factor. Like, I grew up watching this movie, but also, like, it's objectively a good movie.
It is. I just rewatched it with Rachel.
Yeah.
I had, watched it as a child, I think, and then like just I guess not watched it since, but like the fandom is still really active, especially on like Tumblr.
Okay.
So I was still able to
see things.
I see things about it all the time.
Yeah.
So like while I haven't actively watched the plot of it, I still I'm still very in love with it.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun time. It's funny. It's engaging.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great.
It's really well balanced. So let's see. It's The Mummy in 1999 by Stephen Sommers, I believe, is the director.
Possible. I didn't check these things.
I definitely know. I'm just picturing the intro credits or the end credits. And it stars Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, who I love both of them.
Both beautiful.
Yeah, so
I love Brendan Fraser so much.
Yeah, definitely. He's been through it, and I definitely respect him from still being here and trying. So
I have this memory when I was in, I think, middle school-ish. It was when Journey to the Center of the Earth came out, and I remember saying to God, it had to have been just I have a distinct memory. I was in one of the like climbing gyms on a like youth group venture kind of thing, and I just somehow the conversation came up. I think I had a Journey to the Center of the Earth bookmark, and I was just like, someone asked me a question, and I was like, yeah, I think Brendan Fraser is my like favorite actor.
Yeah,
which he was just in this movie that I really enjoyed. I like The Mummy, like George of the Jungle is a favorite in my house. So I was like, yeah, he's my favorite actor, and I just remember this like grown ass adult being like, really? Him? I was like, are you really gonna say this to a small child?
Don't hate on him.
Like, first of all, he's great.
He is great.
He's a little gimmicky, but he's great. He knows exactly what he's going for. Yeah. And like looking back on it now, I'm like, yeah, he deserves to be my favorite actor. He's phenomenal. What are you talking about?
Like, it's that meme, like, fuck you if you don't like Brendan Fraser. All my homies like Brendan Fraser.
My homies love Brendan Fraser.
We love Brendan Fraser in this house.
We love him.
Yeah. And then I also just really like Rachel Weisz a lot.
Yeah, she's amazing too.
Yeah, she's great.
I'm less familiar, like I can't actively list movies off the top of my head of hers, besides The Mummy, but like I love her. She's great.
She's good. She's good.
Yeah.
So they're both in it. And then a few other people. Yeah. I mean, like, most of the other people, like, haven't been in a bunch of other stuff. They're not as famous.
Names,
like,
for sure.
I know, Arnold Vosloo is the Mummy, and then Patricia Vasquez or something is An X and a Moon. It's Patricia something.
Something like that.
Starts with a V. She's Argentinian.
Patricia Velasquez, yeah.
Velasquez.
Because she also comes in the sequel.
Yes.
Which I had the IMDb up from watching the sequel yesterday.
And then Ardith Bay, I don't know.
Ardith Bay is great. I don't know if he's in, like, I genuinely don't know if I've seen him in anything else.
I don't know.
But, like, he's just pretty to look at.
He is very pretty. He is, like, one of my favorite people in these movies. Like, he's so pretty.
He's such a small role, especially in the first one. He just, like, occasionally is, like, there, and you're like, what are you accomplishing? He just pops up to be like, why'd y'all fuck it up? Why'd y'all fuck it up, guys?
He's, like, the one who, like, is protecting everything.
Oh, for sure. Like, him and his people's, like, role, very crucial. Yeah. But mostly he just shows up, like, after Rick or Evie has fucked it up. And he's like, why did you fuck it up? Now I have to do my job. And then he, like, disappears for a while again. And I love that for him. He's more involved, I think, in the second one.
It's because, like, they have a history, so they're, like, friends in the second one.
I love him.
It's great.
It's great. Honestly, like, him and Rick totally have a thing.
Yeah, they're BFFs.
And we just need to bring Ardith into the marriage.
But
that's a conversation for when we get to the sequel.
He's great.
So, and then there's John Hannah, who plays Jonathan.
Oh, how could I forget about John Hannah?
Honestly, spectacular as a character.
He's so funny.
I could talk all day about Jonathan. But.
John Hannah is like an English comedian, by the way.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he is. So that's like why he's funny.
That tracks, yeah.
And then also, like, those of you who watch The Last of Us, the show, not the video game, the very first scene in the very first episode, like the introductory scene when you start watching it, is John Hannah. Like, you know, it's like, if you've seen that show, it's like the 60s. They're talking about, like,
viruses and then, like,
fungus,
actually
and,
fungus,
like, how scary it is. And the one who's talking about it is John Hannah. Yeah. And I remember pressing play on The Last of Us and being like, John Hannah!
My boy!
It was great. Like, it was a very nice, like, unexpected jump scare. I was like, oh, hey! So, yeah, that's him. So,
he's in the leg.
I still have on my phone, like, I made a meme of it. Like, I'll put it in the Discord. But,
amazing.
So yeah, he's great. But the movie, The Mummy, opens up, like, narrating, like, the whole backstory about it. And honestly, like, the CGI in the opening is not bad.
It's really not.
It's not bad.
Especially considering it's
1999.
It's not overdone.
It is not bad at all.
Yeah, because I think what they do is, like, there's a lot of CGI in the opening because they're trying to cover everything.
It's just, like, the setting. It's like
setting up
a background.
This is ancient Egypt. Everything has to be covered in gold and gems and whatever.
The buildings.
But they're, like, especially later on, they do majority practical effects. But, like,
the
CGI
for the
is, like,
actual mummy.
Acknowledging this was 2001. They never overdo the CGI, which is what I love. So it never looks
It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad.
It looks good
it looks
for
good.
what it is.
Yeah. So they did a good job with that. And then also Ardith Bay is, like, narrating the whole opener, and his voice is just so smooth and soothing.
It is lovely.
Like, I just really enjoy the opening.
It's great.
And I think he does a great job narrating it too, because, like, at the end, his voice, like, gains more, like, passion, I guess.
Yeah, and it's more invested.
I just, like, it's the tism in me, but it's like I can echo, like, what he says at the very end. It's like, and the curse of invincibility. Like, he like, what's it called? Like, accentuates, like, each syllable in that. I don't know what the word is. Enunciates, yes. Yeah. And it's really well done, and I just really love it. It sets the tone. Like, it just makes you excited and a bit, like, suspenseful to watch the movie.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
It's amazing. And then the first scene in, like, the modern, I guess, because you don't get the ancient flashback anymore, but it's, like, set in the 20s. I'm pretty sure it's the 20s.
It's late 20s, and then the sequel's in the
30s.
Early 30, like 33, I think.
I don't know, something like that.
I literally just watched it yesterday.
Yeah, because
I have more notes on the sequel.
It's like 10 years later at the max. It's probably like 8 years later.
It's like 6, because I think Alex is like... No, Alex is closer to 8, so maybe it is a decade. So it might be like 20... Because, no, it's post-World War I.
It's the first movie's in the 20s. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
And it's before World War II.
Yeah, they're way before World War II.
So it's got to be like 35 in the second movie.
Yeah, second one I want to say is 30.
Something.
I want to say it's 33, but again, I only watched it the once.
I don't know.
And I was focused on many other things. Like,
I didn't rewatch it recently because I didn't have time, but it's whatever.
It was my first time watching the sequel, so y'all, I have lots of thoughts written down here.
But I think it's cool because...
No,
that's okay. It's just like, this movie was made in 99, and they chose to
it's a period piece.
Set it in the 20s, which is nice because like the original movie was in the 20s, 30s, whatever. So it was a really good choice because like the costumes are great, like the setting is great, like the vibe is really good. Mm-hmm. So it's really nice.
And I think it lends to like we don't have to deal with any of the technology.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no like sat nav to figure out like where I can never remember this ancient city, what it's called, but like there's no way to find it on
Optra?
Yes. In the like satellite.
No, you don't have that kind of technology.
It's just the maps and the legend and the myth.
It's very much like what you think of like ancient Egypt mummies, like the Carter expedition in the 20s, you know, like that old like curses, like colonization, archaeology, like it's just like a really good vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's adventure. We're all stepping out here to see what we can find out there in the desert.
It definitely is like adventure, and like you're trying to find treasure, or like, and it's very unknown, and it's very like exciting. So, and they have to do it all like themselves. They don't have any technology, so it's like more magical.
But they're not even like funded. It's not like an expedition. Like it's just
they
like
just have their own money.
Guys.
Yeah. So that's cool. And then also like the guns that they use are like very, I mean, obviously like period typical, like there's no machine guns, like it's all like pistols and like rifles and stuff.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, you know, like it's very nice. I'm sick of machine guns. Like,
yeah. In the sequel, I know I keep jumping to the sequel, but
they have
just because this
gun.
Particular scene made me laugh because it's like Ardith and Rick. Well, no, not quite there, but when just after Alex gets taken, Ardith and Rick are like, okay, well, I guess we're arming up. Let's go. He like opens up his trunk. He's like, all right. You prefer the shotgun? He's like, I prefer the Thompson gun. It's like, you're pulling out a fucking Tommy gun to chase the mummy.
Yeah,
like, let's go.
He's got a whole armory in his car.
I was like, yeah, give the guy who fights for ancient Egypt a Tommy gun.
Yeah.
And
it's cool.
It made me giggle.
It is nice.
Which is why it's stuck in the brain.
Yeah.
I think it's just silly.
It is silly. And like the cars are old. Like it's just very nice.
Fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It makes things fun.
It's just great setting, and then also like the cinematography in this movie is really well done. Just like the way like the camera shots are, and like the lighting is 10 out of 10.
This is when people still knew how to light a movie.
Yeah, they don't fucking know how to do it anymore, especially like night scenes. People suck at night scenes.
Everything is so dark, you can't see fucking shit.
And like The Mummy, amazing light scenes.
It's so good. You know when they're like down in the deepest parts of like this underground burial crypt,
you see them very clearly. Like,
they have their torches, which gives a light source for the scene. They set up those like little like metal mirrors to like reflect the sunlight down or whatever. But it's like, obviously that wouldn't give you much realistically. But they're also like, what if we just give the actors full lighting in the scenes?
Like it's still like the like edges are dark enough that it's not like you're in a well-lit room, you know, like, or like with floodlights or whatever.
Yeah, it's soft and warm lighting, like it's coming from the torches. Yeah, like you said, the room is dark around them.
It's really good.
See everyone.
It's just, I'm like, wow, people and stuff nowadays need to like take notes. Like, please take notes.
Please remember how to light your scenes.
Like, what the fuck? So that's really good.
Being able to see my movies.
Yeah. And there's a specific scene, this is like classic, like old creature vibes, like classic monster scene where it's like the mummy like shows up first and they're like in this like corridor with like the guy who got his eyes and tongue taken away, and like Evelyn, like Rachel Weisz comes in and she like she's in like some moonlight and she turns around and the mummy is there, like also kind of in the moonlight but kind of not,
right, just right up in her face.
And it's just like the moonlight going in and like illuminating her completely and eliminating it like somewhat, like it just blows me away. Like it's just beautiful. And it's just great because that whole scene's mood is very classic and very iconic, and I really like it.
It's really good because they do a lot of good like classic horror tropes kind of in that moment. Like there's she reads the book, and so there's that kind of like ominous aura that passes through the whole book,
like something happened.
Like you feel it. And then there's the like when you see the guy who like is the first one that Imhotep like drains, but before he's fully drained, it's like you walk into the room, his back is to you, and he's in the dark, and then he turns around to turn him around, and oh no, his eyes are gone.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's like such a cliche now, but at the time, like it's also just like so good and classic.
It's very classic. It's for being set in the 20s, like it works so good.
It really does. There's so much good there.
Yeah. That's an amazing scene.
There's also like, God, this will never not be funny to me. The fact that they're, for a long time, like before the mummy really awakes, is that they're just referring to him as the gooey mummy. Like,
oh yeah, because like he is more like there's more to him than they expected.
Yeah, because they didn't do all the like
he's not all dusty
processes.
Yeah,
they just like they wrapped him up, dumped him in the sarcophagus,
and buried alive,
and let him be eaten alive.
Yeah,
and then buried him. And so of course he's not as like
they didn't do all of the stuff.
It still looks like he's decomposing. So they're like, wow, you just found like a gooey mummy, huh? That's super weird. The gooey mummy. And I'm like, I'm calling him that forever. Like I don't care that he gets skinned and like is fully revived and like whatever. He's the gooey mummy to me, and that's all he'll ever be.
That's funny.
I love the gooey mummy. It's so silly.
Yeah, but
although slight detour in just kind of this time period in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
As they're like exploring the tomb, the Americans in this whole time are so stupid. They're so stupid.
It's very nice American representation, I have to say.
I mean, like, it is when it comes to like the gunfight on the boat and like that. Like, I get all that. We're going for the cliches, but when they're like, okay, you found the gooey mummy, and like, oh, we found a book down in this ancient Egyptian burial tomb, and what's that even worth? It's like everything. You found the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
They're stupid Americans.
Do you know how much money you can make off of that? No, the only thing that matters here is we found some jars.
Yeah.
It's like, great, you found some organs, but you have the Book of the Dead. And these guys found a full-ass mummy with a unique, burial technique. That will give them billions of dollars. And they're like, haha, you only found a gooey mummy. We found the cool jars. I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad you're gonna die. Your stupidity cannot exist on this planet.
No, they're just they're jumping on the bandwagon. Like, they're not trained, they're not knowledgeable. And there's not a lot to be knowledgeable of, because in the 20s it's a new field, sort of. So
but, even the kind of knowledgeable guy with them did nothing about to correct them or say there was anything of value. The old I was just thinking I was stewing.
He said
in
the
anger.
book was treasure.
I was so mad. I was like, fine, give up your stupid Book of the Dead then, since you think it's not worth anything. I'll take it. I'll take that book.
Yeah, he wanted it. He wanted it. He wasn't gonna tell them. Yeah, it's funny. I think it's good.
We just have these jars, and you've got a stupid gooey mummy. What's that gonna get you? Everything.
I mean, it's nice for me to see stupid American representation, because I feel now movies that come out of America have the propaganda of Americans are the best people ever, we're awesome,
oh yeah, for sure.
And I hate that. So it's very nice to see the actual representation of basically what most Americans are like. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that, and it's
nice.
It's very fun.
They weren't afraid to do it in the 90s.
The stupid scenes on the ship.
That is
just
so
are,
fun.
Shooting at something. They don't even know what they're shooting at.
Yeah, they're having fun, just having a gunfight, and Jonathan's Americans.
Standing on the wrong side of the river.
That's like one of my favorite like shots, and
it's so good.
That definitely goes around Tumblr all the time.
Oh, all the time. And it's like funny because like Rick is also American,
but he's like a good American.
He's
a good American. He's an exception because it's like, and you don't even have to like prove differently because he shows how smart he is. Like,
I mean, yeah, he's active the whole time.
Yeah.
But I do think it's funny that it, like, even when Evie is like insulting Rick, she never categorizes him with the others.
Yeah, because like great. American is like a
it's an insult.
It's an insult, yeah.
So, yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. So that's fun. Just I think also the pacing of this movie is really well done. So it's like you have the beginning, and then you have like the setup, and then you have them trying to find the tomb and everything, and then after the mummy gets awakened, you have that stuff happening.
All that chaos.
So I think they don't rush anything.
No, nothing feels rushed. You have enough downtime to let you breathe.
And it's not like super long either.
Yeah, like your downtime is never so much that it drags, but it's enough to let you catch your breath between the action scenes.
And it's very nice. I just like the pacing a lot because I feel like a lot of times like either like the buildup is too short sometimes and then get straight to the action, or like vice versa. And I think they balanced it really well in this movie.
Was actually something I took notice when we watched the other day, because I was like, wow, we are like however many minutes into like half an hour, 45 minutes into the movie. I'm like, and the mummy isn't even like
there
up yet.
Yeah.
Like the mummy's still dead.
Yeah, like that's nice. Like
and I was like, that seems wild. You couldn't do that in a movie today.
Not today, yeah. But it's nice.
I'm enjoying it. We get time with our characters to figure out why each of them is invested in this particular like search. Like why we're all doing everything.
It gets you more really like immersed, I would say.
It's really nice to kind of take your time, because then also the action doesn't have to like keep building and building and getting bigger and bigger. It can just be what it is.
Exactly. It feels more like genuine.
Yeah. And it's just simpler, which can be so nice.
Yes, it's very nice for sure. Let's see. So I have a bunch of lines in that I kind of wrote down, / scenes. Let's see. I didn't write down all of them because I was like, there's too many. I like everything in this movie. Like, I like all of them. I talked about some of them I like already, but another one that I really like is when they're still like doing their dig and they're still like figuring out what's there. They like drink something, some sort of drink, and they like get drunk. And Rachel Weisz is like, she's being drunk, and he's like, I don't know, I can't figure you out, like, who are you or whatever, like, why are you here? And she's like, I am a librarian.
And that's great.
And I just love that, and that like makes me love this movie so much more because my mom is a librarian. So like I watch this movie with my mom a lot, and it's like very nice. Like it feels very nice. It's very like, it feels like very like familiar to me, I guess. It's like very close to me.
Love that.
So another reason why I like this movie a lot.
Speaking of her being a librarian, and like the brief scene where we see her
in the
acting as a librarian in her position, where we see her fucking topple all of the
like
bookshelves.
dominoes.
First of all, if those bookshelves could be toppled that easily, then there was a problem with the shelving units.
Yeah.
But probably not a purposeful thing. But if your head librarian or head of the facility is purchasing shelves that are that poor quality and are that easily toppled, maybe they're not so good at their job and perhaps are actually in this position for an entirely different reason, which come to find out, he actually works with, what's his name? Why can't I ever remember Ardith's name? Ardith. And he's actually here to help monitor, like, shit going on with the mummy.
Yeah.
So, like, was that intentional? Probably not. They just wanted to watch Evie topple all the bookshelves and show us she's like passionate but a klutz.
Yeah.
And that's great. But like, if you want to overthink things, there's no logic there.
It makes sense.
So, which was just something that occurred to me. So I think that's fun if we want to overthink things.
It is fun. Because the character, like the curator, I would say, of the Cairo Museum, like if you pay attention to what he does in the beginning, like it makes a lot more sense, because like he also, like, when they bring him the map and they're like, oh my gosh, look what we found, and he's like, oh, this isn't anything, blah blah blah.
Yeah, he, I don't think you should do that. That's such a silly thing.
He is like, they're talking and he like kind of holds the map out a little bit to kind of like look at it.
It's like, oh, maybe if I hold it closer to the fire, I can read it better.
But it's like he's actually intentionally setting it on fire, because you find out later he's trying to protect the city. So it's just like these little things that you don't pick up the first time, because they're not super obvious, but they still included it, which I really appreciate.
It's so good.
Yeah.
He's like telling Evie and Jonathan, like, don't do that. I feel like that's a bad idea. What a waste of time. What a silly thing. That's just myth. Don't worry about it. Oops, the map's on fire. But it all feels like such a natural, like, skepticism. And like,
it does.
And it's very much I'm just trying to look at the map in better light. Let me bring it closer to this flame.
Exactly.
Oops, now it's on fire. It's like very easy.
You wouldn't catch it until like the second watch through.
Until you find out, like, oh, he actually knows Ardith and has been working with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
It is really good, really well done.
I love it.
Some other things that I like, some other lines, all of Rick's like interactions with Benny are so funny.
Oh, they are.
When he sees Benny again on the boat, he's like, I don't know, something about like, don't kill me, like, think of my children.
Think of my children.
And he's like, you don't have any children. He's like, someday I might.
Maybe it will someday.
That kills me.
Won't, Benny.
He says it like so forlornly. Like so seriously. So funny. And then later on, like when Benny's working for the mummy, like Rick is like, you came out of the desert with a new friend, didn't you? And Benny's like, what friend? You're my only friend.
Benny leads such a sad existence.
He's so funny. Like,
he's so pathetic and so cowardly.
It's so funny.
He's what we would call a dastard. He's a cowardly fool.
So funny.
He's so funny.
And he
sucks.
I mean, this movie has a lot of good like themes and lessons in it.
Yeah.
And one of them is about, like, what to do in the face of, like, evil or whatever, because he says, like, better to be the right hand of the devil in his path, which I feel like is a pretty common phrase. Yeah. Like, he did not just invent that. But it's also, like, okay, if you do that, like, you're gonna die eventually, too. Like,
it's like, just because you're not in front of him now,
right now,
later.
Exactly. And it's like, do you want to live like that, or do you want to just be in front of it? You know,
like actually fight.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So it gives you that trade-off, which I think is a good lesson.
And he's told so many times by like at least 3 different characters. They're like, bud,
you're gonna die.
You are gonna get yours.
Yeah.
Like, the things you've done
just not turn out well for you.
Pay you back.
Karma.
Like, and naturally, it does. Because, like, of course it does.
Yeah, and...
Like, dude, how did you think it was gonna go any other way?
This is another scene that I really like, is his death. So it's, like, at the end, like, the tomb is, like, closing up, and they're, like, trying to get out really fast before, like, the doors close, the walls, like, come down.
And you're trapped forever.
And, so he gets, like, trapped in the treasure chamber, and right when, like, there's been, like, you know, music and stuff happening, and, like, the sound of the walls, like, coming down, and then right when they close, it goes, like, dead silence. Because, like, he's the only one in there.
It's just him
alone. And, well, he's not,
torch.
It's not dark yet. Like, the lights get broken, so it's, like, slowly goes into darkness, and then he has his torch.
Just
and then
his one torch.
And then the torch, like, slowly, like, goes out, and you hear, like, the bug, you, like, see the bugs surrounding him, and then you, like, hear them, and then it, like, goes in darkness, and then you hear him, like, screaming, and I just, like, I'm not describing it to its full justice, but...
It's interesting, because, like, the scarabs have been, like, all throughout
they've
the
been
different pathways. But as everything shuts down and as it gets dark in the treasure room around him, except for his torchlight, they like fully encircle him.
Yeah, and you
only held back by his torchlight. As it starts to sputter,
that's like getting closer to him. And it's dead silent except for the bug sounds.
Yeah, and then it goes out. And then you hear them like attack
and screaming.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's really good. Like, it is sad. Like,
it's honestly one of the colder scenes.
It would be a horrible way to die.
Yeah. Like a lot of the other ones are like, there's too much happening to really be like, oh no.
Yeah.
Or like this
is like focused on it. Like
that one you like really feel it. But at the same time you're like, dude, you had every chance to avoid this.
But it's still like, even though he did all his bad things, it's like, wow, like that sucks. Like, you still can empathize. Like, it's terrifying. So that's another thing this movie balances out really well, is like the horror and like the funness and the comedy. It is a great balance. Whereas like sometimes now horror movies are like too scary all the time and it doesn't have a balance, or like action movies are like not scary, they're just like action and whatever.
Just
so
go.
This is a really good balanced movie.
I love it. Yeah, it's great. One thing that I found interesting, and I raised this to Rachel while we were watching it, and she has a good explanation for it. I just thought it was like super interesting. And tell you about Betty reminded me of it because he kind of also has his own little thing about it. But after Imhotep is raised, the 10 biblical plagues of Egypt start. You get like the locust, you get the boils. There's even a plague of darkness, like
the comet, the meteor shower.
An eclipse happens. That's the darkness. And so like the 10 biblical plagues fall upon Egypt.
Yeah.
And then in kind of a similar way, hang on one second.
I mean, you get 9 because you don't get all the kids dying.
Yeah, that does not happen. God's hand does not reach out.
Yeah.
That doesn't
happen.
But then like at this, when Imhotep faces off against Benny the first time, Benny, the coward that he is, first raises up, like, I think he starts with a cross.
I think it's a cross.
And he, like, gives an our Father. And then that doesn't work, so he pulls up, like, a Chinese religious symbol and, like, does one of those prayers, like, Taoist maybe or something.
Yeah,
and
a
then,
few
like,
different things.
Then he rotates through a few and then, like, lifts up a Star of David.
Yeah.
And starts saying something and gets interrupted. Yeah, in Hebrew. And the mummy goes, oh, the language of the slaves.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to serve me and get me what I need.
Yeah.
I don't remember in particular what he asked him at that point, but like, so like this religious symbol that clearly relates also to like the story of Moses and the biblical plagues.
Yeah, the plagues.
So it's just like, it feels very interesting to me when the story is so very like secular, to bring in these biblical acts or references. References, I guess, is more what I want to use there. But so I just thought that was like an interesting choice when they were like coming up with their storylines, because there's like any number of supernatural, devastating things that you can have befall upon the nation.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was interesting that they went specifically with like the biblical disasters.
I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Like, one is like through our like Western perspective of Egypt, like we know like the biblical history of Egypt a lot, so we like tie it to that.
It's a well-known story for sure.
Yeah, so it's like and also I think it just is generally history. I mean, I'm not an expert, but like like the Jews were like in Egypt at some point, I feel like is a pretty well established fact.
I feel like
I'm not a historian, but
I want to say yes.
Yeah, so
that
it's
may
like
just be through my like, you know, very Christian viewpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Christian raised viewpoint.
Exactly, and that's like why it's like we are raised so like Christian in our Western society, so it's like we associate that together. So I don't think they were being like religious about it. It's just like that came into like their perspective of Egyptian history. So like that's why they added that in there, and it works well for the story in terms of like getting like Benny to serve him and everything. And
I truly loved the Benny and Imhotep interaction. Yeah. I thought that was very funny and interesting. Like, of course, a coward like him would be like, I'll just rotate through whatever god will take me.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting. And of course, like, the whole, like, the language of the slaves, just knowing, like, historically. So, like, that... that part tracked for me. It just, like, that's what tied me into my conversation about
that. Yeah, it makes sense.
It just,
And then the way I explain the plagues, and this is just, like, my theory about it, of, like, why it makes sense, but it's, like, the plagues, were, like, the worst natural disasters, like, in Egyptian history, like, presumably. So it's, like, they think the mummy, like, of what the curse they did to them is, like, the worst thing possible. So it's, like, the worst thing they could imagine is these plagues that were so bad that happened. So it, like, made sense for them to, like, tie it together, like, narratively. So
that's fair.
So that makes sense to me, of, like, they just associate that with it. It's not, like, a god thing. It's more of, like,
just the horrors.
The horrors, the horrors go together. Like,
which tracks.
Yeah. And I think it does well, like, biblical horror, you know, like, religious horror, like, is a whole thing. So, like, in the Mummy movie, like, they quote the Bible when the plagues start happening.
Oh, yeah. Like, they're very much making sure that you know what this is.
And I really like that, because it shows, like, the seriousness of it in my, like, Christian Western perspective, you know? Like, if you quote the Bible, like, when these awful things are happening, like, Jonathan's like, and all the rivers of the Nile ran red as if were blood, or something. Like, that just goes so hard.
I mean, it
does. So, I just think it adds to the horror to it.
It does. It just seems like, and like, I fully support this theory. It just seems like such a weird, like, diversion when everything else is, like, you know, the Egyptian based focus on there, and, like, the celebration of death and the underworld and or afterworld or whatever, and all that. It just feels like, we're going to take this brief little diversion into Christianity.
No, it truly is, like, recognizing, like, Egyptian history and culture through our Western perspective.
Yeah.
Like,
and I fully get where you're going.
And I feel like for Egypt, like, because of the history, like, it's very impossible to, like, not put that together anymore. Sure. It's so tied for us, for the Western world, so...
Yeah, fair.
So, but I really like this movie.
It's great.
Let's see what else I have. Rick and Evie are, like, a nice hetero couple.
They're so good. Yeah. Is the thing.
It's nice.
Kind of leaning on that end. I know we're getting towards the end, so I'm just going to throw in if most of my Mummy Returns thoughts are truly just, like, that was a funny thing that happened.
Okay.
So they're not, like, in-depth thoughts. But, one thing I really did like about The Mummy Returns is that Evie and Rick are married. They have a child. And they are still so happily in love with each other.
It's so cute, yeah.
And I, like, as soon as I realized they were, like, married and had a child, I was like, oh, fuck, is this going to be, like, a national treasure situation?
Where they're not happy.
Like, divorcing each other, and it's only the adrenaline that they think they were in love. And I was like, no.
They are in love. Like,
and they're so in love.
It's so cute.
And like, it's like, Rick is like, I can't stand to lose you. It's you and it's Alex. Those are the only things I care about. I'm like,
like, finally.
Like, we love each other. And it's beautiful.
Like, nowadays do we get, like, a nice, happy family that, like, will die for each other?
And they're just, like, so open that about don't their have, emotions, too. Like, just blatantly open.
Yes.
And, like, also just, oh, God, disgustingly flirtatious with each other.
Yeah.
Their poor son, he's just kind of like, get a room. And, like, because he's being annoyed about his parents being flirty, he does get kidnapped. Like, come on, Alex. But, like,
it's just so cute and very wholesome. And it's like, you don't need to have relationship conflict to make the movie interesting. Like,
exactly. If you like the characters and they like each other, that's fine.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to have them be
It doesn't need to be complicated.
And, like, they still bigger and fought like they did in the first one. But it's all with love.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
You can still have them be irritating. That's fine.
Yeah, they are a great, like, fictional relationship,
so
I will
good.
say. It's very nice. So, a great movie for me to grow up on.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, and also, like, at the end of the first movie, because, I mean, we're almost done with that one, but at the end of the first movie, like, Rick and Evie kiss, and then Jonathan is like, oh my god.
Yeah, what was it? It's like, Johnson says something like, well, I guess we're leaving empty-handed after all. And then Rick is like,
I wouldn't say
like,
that.
I wouldn't say that, and then kisses Evie.
And then Jonathan's like, are you kidding me?
Jesse's like, I'm still leaving empty-handed. You get my sister, I guess.
It's just
and
so
I'm just
nice.
over here with the camel.
It's so nice of like,
it's so cute.
Because it's like also like, okay, we've seen the cliche.
We get it.
Like
it's
you
fine.
get the girl, like you get together, you kiss, and it's nice. Like Jonathan is like bringing it back to like, okay, like we know it's not that serious. Like it's cute and all, but like you don't have to like have a tooth rotting moment for like 2 minutes, you know?
Like, come on, let's break it up, guys.
It's very nice. I really appreciate it. So, anything else about the first movie?
I don't think so. We covered.
Okay.
I did want to touch briefly on Jonathan.
Okay.
In that like he is the comedic relief character.
Yeah.
However, he is also a solid like. You have to kind of watch for it, but a solid rep of World War I PTSD.
Yeah.
And like one of the first things he says to us is a suicide joke.
Yeah.
He's being incredibly irreverent with the dead.
Yeah.
He just like nothing phases him anymore.
Yeah, she's like, have you no respect for the dead? And Jonathan's like, of course I do, but sometimes I'd rather like to join them. And it glosses over so quickly.
Yeah, it's just gone.
Yeah,
it's
but I'm like, wow, like that's actually kind of nice to hear, you know? Like
first of all, people were making those jokes long before millennial humor.
Exactly.
Jesse humor, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, and it's just like,
and they don't have to like dwell on it. Like
yeah.
it's a joke, and it shows like, okay, he's been through some shit, like, but he's still here and like still trying to get through it. Like,
yeah, and even like in the worst of it, as they're like dealing with stuff, he never like backs out of anything.
Exactly.
He always is like, maybe we don't do the thing, but we consider not doing the thing. But he never actually like backs off or runs away, and is just as ready to like face things as Rick is, or his sister is. And actually, when handed a gun, is very, very good with it. You see that a lot more in the sequel. He is a crazy good shot. Yeah,
because I mean, he's got the whole high class like rifle shooting training.
He's a fucking sniper.
Yeah. Which makes sense being like a nobleman, an English nobleman.
He laughs it off, like, he's like, oh yeah, I was really good at the like fox and hound hunts. Don't worry, I'm sure I'll do fine with the gun. And then he like clears a path for Ardith and for Edie and for Rick.
Like so long away, so far away.
So far away with perfect shots. No one gets touched.
Yeah.
And they come back and they're like, hey, good shooting, bud. He's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, buddy, what did you do? Were you okay? Like, we can take you back home. You don't need to be shooting. It's okay.
I like him.
I love Jonathan. And, like, it's never made a point of... I think the closest they get was, like, the good shooting.
Yeah.
As, like, to, like, a direct
World
reference. As to, like, oh, yeah, he doesn't hesitate when shooting very humanoid figures. Yeah. Not no hesitation. But I adore it.
There's also hints at it because like he is like a disaster man, like
oh for sure,
like a disaster by stereotypical because it's like he like gambles, he steals, he's like
a bit of a drunk
but he's like a nobleman, so it's like. He's got to have a reason for that, and it's the World War I PTSD. Like,
yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, and there's also another hint to World War I because the pilot guy, he's also a drunk.
I think I lost some of my notes on the first. Okay, I'm realizing because I did have more notes in here and they're just gone. Because I wrote his name down because it was
Winston.
such a Winston. He had the world's most British name.
Oh gosh,
I loved it. But he was so wonderful,
yeah.
And I'm still mad. I think he could have still been alive in that plane before it went under.
But it's nice because he was like ready to go. He like missed his friends.
He went out on an adventure
again, like the suicidal ideation post World War I. Like, survivor guilt and everything that goes along with that. So,
but that's a personal pet peeve of mine, and Rachel's heard me talk about it a lot. Is when they go to check the pulse of someone in a movie, and it's
not medically accurate.
They pick it somewhere that does not get, like, they checked that man's jawbone.
Yeah, it wasn't like
you can't get a pulse off someone's jawbone.
No, it's got to be a bit lower.
Yeah, it's gonna actually be like on the neck, somewhere over the carotid, like,
but like in a specific area of the neck too, like.
And like, I've actually made that a plot point in one of my fanfics because I was like so irritated about it one time.
Just like
if you like My Hero and you like Best Jeanist and want to see him go feral, it happens in my Best Jeanist fic, Loose Threads. So if you're into that, and also that's a pet peeve of yours, have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that was like, I think that British man could still be alive, and you're just burying him in the sand because you checked his pulse on his jawbone. Rachel's heard me do that rant so many times. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I think my only other note for the first one was just like, when Rick is in prison, he looks a lot like his George of the Jungle.
Yeah, he does look like George of the Jungle.
Which was very fun for me.
It's nice.
And then when he shows up ready for the boat after that, Evie has a very clear, like,
he's like, oh no, he's hot.
I love those moments.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so, like she immediately goes into her cabin and it's like,
it's so nice.
Oh, we've had a kiss, but he didn't care about the kiss, and it was just a kiss, Evie. Oh my god. But he's hot now.
It's great. And it's also like another thing about this movie that I forgot, and I'm glad this reminded me of, like, the sibling relationship between Evie and Jonathan is so good.
Oh, it's really good.
Like, he teases her for, like, liking Rick and stuff, and she's like, Jonathan! Like,
leave me alone! I don't want to like a guy!
They're so cute, like...
So,
and
they're so good.
At the prison, like, Rick, like, punches Jonathan, and Evie just, like, steps over
it. She ignores it. She's like, Jonathan is unconscious on the ground.
That's the most sibling thing I've ever seen. Like, I just love them.
It's so funny.
It's
Honestly,
great.
So
it's great. And it's like in the second movie too, like, if we're gonna like go to that one, he's just like living in their house. He's like Uncle Jonathan, and they're like all having fun.
They all live happily together.
Yeah, it's just like they have a great relationship, and I really like that.
So
yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. So yes, the first movie, my favorite movie of all time.
Delight.
And I will defend it.
And like, honestly, it's just a well-made
It's
movie.
a great
The lighting
movie.
is great.
Yeah.
The characters are great.
Cinematography,
the costuming
pacing
is great.
It's
just
tone, good. Like, it's amazing.
On the other hand, there was the sequel.
I like the sequel.
Look, the sequel, fun.
Yeah.
However,
like, the pacing's not as good. The plot's not as good. The horror's not as good.
They really lose. They kind of cut back on their practical effects. Dove headfirst into CGI.
The CGI stuff sucks.
So, like, here's the thing. They do the same format as the first movie, where you get your flashback intro to your villain at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you're immediately greeted with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as his very first movie credit ever.
Yeah.
I think
it's so funny. You didn't even know he was in that movie.
Single line in the whole thing. I'm pretty sure it's just, he says like something, and
in ancient Egyptian.
According to the credits, it's Arabic.
Oh, it's Arabic, okay.
So he says like one or maybe two things in Arabic.
Yeah.
And then you watch a battle, and then like we skip to present day, right? And then like we have a whole movie about our heroes and Imhotep.
Yeah.
For so long.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, finally the Scorpion King arises.
Like, did you forget about him? Like,
and it's not even Dwayne Johnson. It's a CGI recreation of Dwayne Johnson with a scorpion body.
It looks horrible. It's so funny.
So bad.
I totally forgot to warn you about it because it's just like normalized for me.
I mean, that's totally fair.
It's so funny.
He looks more rubber than like if they'd applied like a full rubber mask.
It's so funny. Like,
it looks so bad.
Like, don't go into this movie expecting it to be as serious and good as the first one. It's just like funny. It's fun. Like, it's fun.
You definitely have to, like, this is one of the ones where you go and you're like, this is going to be a bad movie and we're going to have a great time watching it.
It's just funny. Like, it's not as good. There's definitely bad parts. I still enjoy it. I still would say it's a good movie.
I mean, I've had a great time watching it. The first one is definitely better. The second one does so much to directly copy the first. You have...
Trying to, like, ride the tails of it.
Yeah, you've got the, you even have, like, Alex topples a whole bunch of large columns and a
But I like
effect.
that.
Well, yeah, if you do it, like, once, maybe twice in the movie, it's a fun reference.
It was good the first time.
If you do the exact same, if you're doing a whole lot of the exact same formatting through the movie and just doing that over and over, now it's just copying. Because you have that, you've got the, like, competing teams, you've got, Evie's boss is somehow in on the problem again, because her current boss is the one who raised Imhotep again.
Yeah.
Or this time. You have...
I didn't pick up on that parallel.
Yeah. I was just, like, noticing these things, it kept happening, and I was like, okay, now it's just, you're doing a copy paste with worst effects. Not to say I didn't enjoy the movie. It's fun. It's silly. We've got a kid along. Jonathan is being more cowardly this time, but it's entertaining. And then we get to, like, his great scene that we talked about already with him being a sniper, and that was fucking incredible. We had zombie monkeys. Because sure, why not? I don't know why they were zombies. I don't think we ever got an explanation as to why they were zombies, but they were. There. And then honestly, my truly favorite moment in the entire movie, and I realized I'd actually seen it before, was it's at the end. The Scorpion King has been stabbed.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, the ground is split open. He's going to fall in. And Imhotep runs in from off screen, drops into a dramatic lunge, and goes, "No!" But it's like, so where were you standing? You were right here. What is this?
It's hilarious. It's great. I love it.
The most bizarre scene, and it's so funny.
I think it's great.
Loved it. It was beautiful, honestly.
It's great.
I mean, honestly, I feel like that 4-second clip defines what the whole movie is in effect, but I say that with love. It was truly so funny to me.
I feel like I'm biased because I have more nostalgia with this movie.
Totally
like,
fair.
I mean, I grew up with both of them, so I really like both of them, and I don't, like, notice all of those little things.
That's fair.
So if I can, like, not notice it at all and enjoy it more.
And I went into it blind, so it's a different experience.
Yeah,
having just freshly watched the first one, so I think one thing, like, a lot of the things where it's like, this was repetitive, I'm like, okay, you were trying to, like, do the same thing that got you made a hit, whatever, that's fine. I get it, I understand it. There was one thing that they did in the sequel that I did not like, and I want to get your take on it.
Okay.
Because I'm sure a lot of people love it. But the fact that they made Evie to be a reincarnation of the old pharaoh's daughter, and then, like, Rick was destined to be a protector, like Ardith is.
Yeah.
And, like, that whole thing, instead of just being a roguish adventurer and a librarian, the librarian that she was so proud of being just a librarian, I felt that kind of took away from who they were in the first movie, because he was just like, this is who I am, and she's like, and I'm a librarian, and that's great. That's what I love. And, like, I understand that, like, Evie needed the visions to kind of set them up for the story, but you could even allow that, the visions themselves, given, like, she was almost, like, soul bonded to whatever her name was in the first movie, and that could have given her a connection to, like, the rising gods and spirits, and then cue her into, like, oh, it's the year of the Scorpion, we're sending out signals. Like, I feel like you still could have done some of that without making her a reincarnation. You know what I mean? So that's my thought on it. So I just want to know what your thoughts are.
So I like the mysticism of it. I don't think it takes away from the first movie, because in my mind they're, like, entirely separate. Like, there's no hint of it at all in the first movie.
Yeah, it's not there.
Because,
it doesn't
like,
have that tattoo.
Because, like, it's, like, the reason for the flashbacks is, like, completely different. Like, it's it's about the Scorpion King stuff. Like, it's about the bracelet thing. So it's, like, that wasn't even in the first movie, so I don't feel like it, like, it makes sense that it wasn't there, and I don't think it takes away from what they had going on in the first movie. And I like like I said, I like the mysticism of it. Like, I like that it's more, like, connected to the past, and I think it's fun. So, yeah.
Cool.
It does not bother me at all. I like it.
That's totally fair.
I think it's more romantic as well, of just, like, having this connection. And also, I think it makes more sense narratively. Because in the flashback from the first movie, like, the Magi just, like, burst in.
Yeah,
randomly.
I was like, how did you know anything happened?
And it is explained in the second movie that she, like, calls them in there. So I feel like, oh, like, that makes sense.
Yeah, that little bit, I was like, okay, I like that. I like that you're giving me an explanation here.
So, I did enjoy that. To me, it just adds to it, doesn't take anything away, because, like I said, like, she only gets the flashbacks when it has to do with the Scorpion King things. So, like, that's fine.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. And I also think it's cool that, like, him and Ardith are connected in a different way.
To be fair, I did love that he and Ardith got a physical connection.
Yeah.
That bit delighted me.
Yeah.
Because he and Ardith at the very least had a solid bromance going on.
Yeah.
Which I know we've kind of moved on past the term bromance, but, like, they did.
Homoerotic.
Like, they did, and honestly,
they're
BFFs. Just swoop him in. Like, let's make the marriage poly.
Like, everyone loves
Rick
him.
and Ardith can be together. I don't know that Ardith and Evie have a vibe, but Rick and Ardith certainly do.
Yeah.
And, like, just bring them into the family,
Yeah, be chill.
They were so cute together during the sequel.
So I like the sequel. Like I said, I'm biased, but
I mean, it's fun. I think quality-wise, the first one is much better.
Of course it is. I still think the second movie is good.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I really
had a great time laughing at Dwayne Johnson's
CGI. That's fun to laugh at. Like, I think that adds to making it a good movie. It's fun.
He's just so. I'm gonna find a clip of the no scene.
Great.
I'm gonna put it in the Discord because honestly, it's just a good thing to go back to and laugh at because it just feels so out of. Like, it feels like they moved Imhotep just so he could run in. I don't know. It's just such a silly little thing. It's fun. But no, the movie is good. It's fun. It's silly.
Even, like, the beginning of the movie, when, like, they're in the tomb.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, introducing Rick, like, in the tomb, like, and you see, like, his silhouette and stuff.
That was really good.
That's iconic. That's
it felt very Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's very iconic. So I really like that.
And he's, like, alone there.
Yeah.
And then Alex runs in and you're like, did you hire a small child?
It's great.
And then it's like, oh, that's your small child.
Kid.
Confirmed marriage!
Yes. I love that.
That was my whole thought process there.
Yeah, it's great. We've already talked about this, but their whole family relationship is awesome.
So good. They're solid. They all love each other. It's really good.
I love that Ardith comes back.
And Alex is so smart too. He's just
he is so smart. He's great. I love that kid.
He's great.
I really like also skipping, like, to the end. Let's see, what was I gonna say? One callback to the first movie I like is Alex is struggling with one of the symbols, and it's the same symbol that Jonathan was struggling with in the first movie. He's like, I know it.
I know that one.
Yeah,
that's the one symbol I know. That's the one hieroglyph I know.
Cute.
That one was good because it was like.
Yeah.
It was a turnaround.
Yeah,
thing. That one was really good.
Also, Evie dies in this movie.
She does.
Which
and then her brother and her son
bring her back to life. Which is great. That's awesome. But just, like, the grief that Rick has in this movie for her, I thought was really good. Like, really well acted. Like, it's like, he is, like, so distraught, and it's like your kid is, like, confused and, like, is also sad, but he's like, take him. Like, I cannot, I only have so much capacity.
Jonathan, I need you to help with my son right now because I have to focus on being devastated.
Which I feel like is so realistic.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
It's, like, heartbreaking because you know he wants to comfort
Alex,
but
he just can't right in that moment because, like, she literally, like, just died. Like, in his arms. Like, so it's like, I just really like that scene. Yeah. It's a great scene.
It's really good. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and that whole thing is something I really like, because it's like they had just like got finished running to the temple, and you think everyone's safe, like after a near-death experience, and then she like dies, and it's like I like that twist. I think that's a good twist.
That was really good.
Yeah. Something else I like about the ending is at the end when Imhotep and Rick are both like hanging off the side, like into like hell or the underworld or whatever, and then I think they like both call out to like their significant others, and I think Evie comes first.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think I was writing down a note about
I'm pretty sure like Evie comes first, because I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure she comes first, and she's like dodging falling rocks and shit, and like she runs to Rick and like pulls him up, and then Imhotep does the same to Anaxunamun, and Anaxunamun's like, "No, I'm not even.
That's scary.
That's too dangerous. Bye."
And like it's fully a reincarnation of her with her soul implanted.
So it's her.
So it's like doubly her.
Yeah. So and then like
she's still like, "Nah, dude."
Yeah, and then Imhotep sees like Evie save Rick and like all of that. He's like so sad. He's like
devastated. Like, which like fair.
Yeah, like
this
that's
whole
the love
thing has been to try to revive her.
Yeah,
and she just said no.
Yeah, she like does not like feel the same, and so he just like dies. He's like, okay, I'm gonna die now.
Into the gates of hell.
And I just think that is so poignant, you know.
Yeah.
Just like that shows like what he cares about. Like he loves Anaxunamun. Like he's like, not just a villain. Like,
and it's like clearly she does love him.
But
because
not enough.
She did enough previously to kill herself about it.
Yeah.
But now she's back, and it's probably her last chance, and she's not willing to risk it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to die again.
Yeah, she's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I've lived a life here in the modern world, and I'm not a queen, and this is different. I'm gonna go.
But it's like she chose that over him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't last long. She got, like, did she get hit by the scarabs?
She like fell into the pool or something and died.
Yeah, she did. She did like very shortly die.
Yeah, she died very soon after that. So I don't know. I just really like that parallel.
Yeah, no, it was very good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Other than that,
they sail away on a flying ship.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Which is, what it felt very. I just finished watching the his Dark Materials series, and it made me think of oh my god, I can't remember the name of anything, but Lin-Manuel Miranda's character, the aeronaut, and his basket.
I have never seen those movies.
He's an aeronaut. He just has like basically a hot air balloon.
Are those the Golden Compass movies?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I never
watched the show.
Oh, there's a HBO show.
Did. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
That's fair.
I remembered I tried to read the Golden Compass, but I just did not like it.
That's fair. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But the show did it really well.
Okay, nice.
I finally watched them. I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice. But it reminds you of that.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, he basically just pilots a hot air balloon.
Okay, cool.
But he's known specifically for that. So then they're like, yes, here's my dirigible. I'm like, that is a sailing ship in a balloon. And it's like, Lee Scoresby, that's his name. It's like, Lee Scoresby would absolutely pilot that, and he'd be proud of it. He's a cowboy in the skies.
Okay.
And that feels very like this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry for that little detour there. That was barely relevant, but that's what my brain was thinking of during those parts.
Yeah. So I like the second one. I think it's worth a watch. Just like don't have super high expectations. Go into it to have a good time, not to have a serious time.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
It's a good time. If
it's
you
a good time.
Just want to have fun.
The characters are great.
It's very fun. So and
you
also
get to see a really weird Dwayne Johnson.
It's so funny, but like this movie like is so good for the family aspect.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's so good. I love it for that.
I adore that family.
Yeah,
they're great.
It's great.
Love that kid. Alex is so cute.
Yes, he's great.
He's so cute and so smart.
Yeah. So also, if you know anything about the third Mummy movie, The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor,
I do not.
I think it came out in like 2008. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I only watched it like once because I hated it because. First of all, Rachel Weisz isn't in it, and they recasted Evelyn, so it's like some random person as Evie, so I'm like, no, I hate that. And then second of all, like, the Alex is like all grown up now, and I didn't like that either, because
he does have to grow up.
I know, but I didn't really like his character as an adult, so I was like, not into that, so... Fair. It just, like, wasn't the same, also, because it was, like, a completely different story, you know, it's not connected to Imhotep in Egypt, it's, like, China, and I understand that, like, they can't draw it, like, they can't milk it forever, but, like...
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of made the decision he doesn't want to come back,
but,
so,
like,
that's fair.
I feel like if they made Alex a better character and they kept Rachel Weisz, like, I would have liked it more, but, like, there were too many changes, and I was just like, this isn't my Mummy movies, like, it's not the same, so... And Ardith wasn't in it either, so I was like...
They took away everyone!
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I don't like this.
Ardith, you're part of the family!
Yeah, it's not as fun, so that's all I have to say about the third one, because I honestly don't remember anything else, except, like, Jet Li is the dragon emperor mummy guy, but, like, I don't remember, like... So, yeah. And I think they did the thing in the third movie where, like, they don't have a good relationship. Like, Alex and his parents weren't close anymore. And, of course, I hated that. Like, because all the second movies, like, they are in a good family relationship.
Yeah,
so,
solid.
Like I said, they changed too much. I didn't like it. So,
yeah, it doesn't sound as fun.
Yeah, I do not recommend watching that.
Yeah, I have to avoid that.
I never saw the Tom Cruise movie. Have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, I remember seeing
I have no idea if it's
like,
connected
to
these, like, Brendan Fraser movies at all.
Or are they maybe connected to the, like, OG Mummy or something?
I have no idea. So if you know, let us know.
Yeah, please.
I really don't want to Wikipedia it. Like, I do not want to waste my energy looking that up. So, I don't know. So... Because I feel like I didn't watch it because I knew I'd just inevitably not like it because it's not like the Mummy movies I love so much. So
it very
like,
much
what's
was
the point?
Clearly such a difference.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm not interested.
No thanks.
Yeah, so that's all I have to say, really. Definitely the first one is my favorite movie of all time. So
it's so good. It's fun.
It's only rivaled by The Thing, which is my favorite horror movie of all time. So those are like top tier for me.
And if you haven't listened to that, we have an episode.
Please listen to it. It's so good.
We had a great time with that.
And watch it. So I should probably watch those movies again because it's like winter. So
it's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Time for The Thing.
Yeah. So, but I will like put The Mummy on if I'm like not in a good mood or feeling sad or like just put something on in the background, you know, like it's always like dependable. I will like this movie. So
gotta have your face.
Yeah, it's just very comforting. Gives me a lot of serotonin, boosts my mood. So I have it on DVD. I own both of them. So yeah, they're really good. I love them.
Okay, I did look it up just while we were going through this last bit.
Okay.
The Tom Cruise one is a reboot of the original Mummy series from like the 1930s through the 1950s. So it is not a follow-up to the Brendan Fraser.
It would be weird for me though, because like they take some elements of the original and put it in the 1999 one, so it would be weirdly similar.
Still slightly, still references for sure.
Interesting. So I'm still not gonna watch it because I have no desire, but that's interesting. Also,
I wasn't planning on watching. I was just like, now I'm curious. What if it is from the OGs?
No,
Turns out it is from the classic Universal monster film series. Yeah.
The only classic Universal monster movie I haven't seen is The Wolfman, and I keep, because I don't think it's at the fucking library. I'm trying to find it. Like, I don't want to buy it. I want to find it in the library or something.
Support your local library.
I just moved, so I need to look at this new city library that I'm at, so I can do that. But yeah, I've watched The Mummy, I've watched Frankenstein, I've watched Dracula. Like, they're all really good.
I've watched the Draculas. I think I need to watch some of the others.
They're good. Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein are both really good.
Yeah.
I watched them when I had COVID the first time.
That's one way to rock it out.
And when I went to Hollywood Horror Nights in Universal for the first time a few years ago, they had like a house that was like the Universal Monster House, and that was so fun. It was so fun. It was great. So, and then also something else relatedly is they had the 25th anniversary of the 1999 movie this year.
Wow.
I might have told you about this because I went and saw it in theaters. Like, they did special screenings like 6 months ago or something, and I went with Kylie and we saw it in theaters, and it was like amazing. It was amazing. So fun. And like everyone was talking about it too, because everyone was like, oh my gosh, like, you can go see the Mummy 25th anniversary. Like, it was a whole thing on Twitter and Tumblr and everything. So I was there. I was there.
That's so fun.
I made it. I was like, I'm fucking going. Like, I'm buying these tickets right now. If no one goes with me, I'm still going.
I'm going anyway.
I am fucking going. Like, it was amazing, and I will go every time they screen it at a movie theater. Like,
of course.
that was the first time I've done it, but I would do it again because seeing it on the big screen, like, remastered.
Oh, I bet.
So good. So good. So that was highlight of the year.
Hell yeah. Oh, it sounds so fun.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, and Kylie hadn't seen it either, so like we saw the first one, then we went home and saw the second one. So
nice.
She also likes the first one better, which everyone does, which is the good opinion. Yeah. So, but I still like the second one. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, but it's so funny because I did not tell Hunter anything about it, and I totally forgot because like The Rock is in it, and she was like, The Rock is in that.
I was like, it's so funny because it was like I pulled it up on Hulu, and like the poster image or whatever is on the screen, and Dwayne Johnson is there. But then in the like credited actors, he's not listed
because like he's not he's not in most of it. He's only in the beginning and the end.
Dwayne Johnson's right there on the poster, but you're telling me that's not Dwayne Johnson. So
I'm sorry, I didn't warn you. I forgot.
No, I mean it's fair. He's barely in the movie. He has like maybe 2 lines.
It's so funny.
And then he's a CGI monstrosity for the last
funny.
bit.
It's great.
It's so funny.
Yeah, but. Those are the Mummy movies. I'd love them. Please watch them.
They're such a good time. They're a fun time.
They're great. So, yeah, we'll see y'all next time. And talk to us about it. Join our Discord. We would love that.
Follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr. You can email us. I think I've got that on our socials.
Yeah. I have it in
hit us up. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us we're right. Tell us we're wrong.
Yeah.
Argue with us. Have fun with us. Whatever.
Fun. Share our passion.
Please.
All right. See y'all next time.
Bye.